Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just doing a sort of brief video, just a gaming news roundup. I've been playing around with my mic a little bit more, so hopefully the audio records a lot better this time. Because the Corsair mic is pretty dope, but I was having trouble, getting the balances and everything because I'm not that good with playing around with Audacity and that kind of stuff. So hopefully this audio comes out a lot better than the previous audio, which you would have heard yesterday. Technically today, because I'm recording on the 18th, but you would have heard it yesterday when I was covering the state of Red Dead Online. But anyways, today I just wanted to cover a few topics. The first topic being Microsoft reportedly bringing in-game ads in their free-to-play Xbox games. We have Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red has announced their expansion for that. We also have some God of War news. Also Horizon Forbidden West news. And then the last story is Ghost of Tsushima finally getting its final patch after 2 years. So let's hop into the Microsoft news. So Microsoft is reportedly working on putting in-game ads in free-to-play Xbox games. Microsoft may be looking to insert more ads, and a new report indicates that the company wants to let advertisers place advertisements inside free-to-play games on Xbox, and they plan on having this go live by the third quarter. And Business Insider reports that this new program would add more games their brands can advertise in and allow more developers to sell space in this. Their sources indicate that these ads could show up as billboards in a racing game, for example. And according to the report, Microsoft won't necessarily be interested in taking a cut of the ad revenue from the Xbox game ads themselves. Instead, that revenue would be shared between the game developers and the tech company that places those ads. And again, they say that Microsoft may try to create a marketplace where only select brands can insert ads in a way that doesn't disrupt gameplay, because we do know when they initially first did this, there was a lot of backlash. For example, EA Sports did it with UFC 4, and we know ads already exist on the Xbox dashboard and all sorts, so it's not necessarily a new thing under the sun. But again, companies just always have to be careful with how they do it, because at the end of the day, you don't want the ads to become intrusive, because of course everyone wants to advertise and you have to make your money, but you don't want it to become super intrusive to the point where it ends up disrupting the gamers that you're trying to provide a service to. Then moving on to story 2, we have Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, and the expansion is arriving 2023. So recently you may know that Cyberpunk did their next gen patch earlier this year, and that has actually been getting some good reviews, some good feedback given the backlash that they had. And it did come a little too late, so they may not necessarily have got the big audience that they had at launch, but they managed to fix a lot of the quality of life changes and things that were bothering players who played it originally at launch. And I was one of those players who played it at launch, and honestly I had a good time with Cyberpunk. I enjoyed it. I thankfully didn't get any of the super fucked up game breaking bugs. The worst bugs I got were just the crashes. So the game would fucking occasionally crash on me mid mission where I didn't have a chance to save, and then I'd have to restart the mission. And then I just had the NPCs T-posing and the usual stuff that you come across. So for me it was an enjoyable experience, but I got lucky because I was playing the PS4 version on a PlayStation 5. And the PC version as well was also stable. But anyone who played it on the previous gen consoles, it was a nightmare for them. But anyway, CD Projekt Red is working on its planned expansion for Cyberpunk 2077, but it'll take its time on it, and the company confirmed that the expansion will arrive in 2023. As highlighted in their recent financial call, CD Projekt Red outlined its future plans for development. Work is continuing on the Cyberpunk expansion, while other teams are working on other projects, including the new Witcher game, which is being built up again in Unreal Engine 5, so that next-gen version should be coming out. I'm not too sure if it's coming out this year or next year as well, but eventually. And the publisher also noted that the upcoming Gwent spinoff that was recently announced, and the company also confirmed the Molasses Flood is working on an unannounced project based on one of its franchises. So they're probably working on another one of their existing games. and we'll see what they have in store for us. And because Cyberpunk 2077 hit over 18 million copies sold, so it still did do well, despite the backlash of the early release and the refunds on PlayStation and Xbox and that kind of thing. But the next gen update certainly added a lot of new life to the game, and I'm part of the Cyberpunk 2077, Jesus, I can't speak today, 2077 subreddit, and I did notice that a lot of players that had held off on playing the original launch ended up playing it when the next gen version came. So if they give a lot of support to Cyberpunk 2077, they could do like a No Man's Sky kind of thing, or a Fallout, and revive the game after a rocky launch. Moving on to God of War Ragnarok news. It's not really news per se, just a little teaser. So the God of War Ragnarok developer teaser that the game is complete. So the only thing that this fuels is showcase speculations, because we know that the game still doesn't have an announced date or a release date, that kind of thing. But the fact that they have completed it, and if it's working on test consoles, we may get a showcase sooner rather than later, kind of thing, down the line, to be able to see the game, kind of like like Sony always does with their other releases. So in a tweet, Ruben Morales, the lead destruction artist of God of War, teased that the game is complete because he shared a video of his kid playing the previous title, and goes on to say that she loves playing the new game, God of War Ragnarok, but he's not able to show that footage because of obvious, DMCA reasons, and they would take it down if he was to leak it. And as a company, they have to stay tight-lipped on that kind of thing. So it does likely mean that the game is complete, and considering that we're already heading into the second quarter, this isn't surprising at all, technically. So again, it's not really news per se, but it does mean that we should be getting closer and closer to actual showcase and trailer outside of what they already showed us existingly. Then moving on to Horizon Forbidden West. This is just news from the game's creative director, mentioning that Horizon will likely get a third game, another sequel. So Horizon is really about mystery. Each of our stories, and I'm quoting the the director. So Horizon is really about mystery. Each of our stories has been uncovering mysteries in both the old world and present day when the game takes place. And his name is Matthias de Jong, creative director at Guerrilla Games. Indeed, there's plenty of backstory that we can tap into to develop new storylines and create new mysteries from what we've already established. And indeed, this game ends with another big cliffhanger. And again, I won't spoil that for anyone who hasn't finished the game yet. So the game does end on another cliffhanger, the way Zero Dawn ended on a cliffhanger. And he does say we knew that we wanted to move to a new location, and we already mentioned in the first game about Forbidden West. Will the next game take us to the Far Zenith colony and show us a new world, or will it see Aloy traveling to Europe and Asia, perhaps, set on uniting people from other tribes? Because again, in the Horizon universe, we haven't necessarily met people from all around the world. We've just met the tribes and colonies they've funneled us into. So it will be interesting to see the direction they take it. And again, Horizon story is always a bit hit and miss for me. Because again, I love Horizon as a game, but I find it hard to get attached to the story necessarily, because I'm not that too invested in the characters outside of like Aloy, Varl, and the main characters in the story. But it's good to hear that they're working on a sequel, and I hope this is actually good news for other of Sony's IP, like Days Gone, because I really love Days Gone, and I feel like Days Gone set up a really good platform to start a franchise for that. But inevitably, we do know that Sony ended up shelving the ideas that Ben Studio wanted to take the franchise to, because apparently the direction they wanted to go was not the same direction that Sony was thinking about. But I do hope that with the success of games like Horizon, the Spider-Mans and everything, Sony will continue to not necessarily milk, but work on their existing IP and build on that. And Days Gone is one of those where, even though it had a rough launch, it's another game that had good potential, to establish a good franchise. And now going into our last story, after 2 years, Ghost of Tsushima finally has its final patch. and after that it won't see any more patches. And personally, I still can't believe it's been 2 years since Ghost of Tsushima dropped, and almost a year since Iki Island. Not a year, but technically, when did it drop? It dropped last year, August, yeah. So, to this day I would happily replay Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 over and over if I could, because those are probably two of the best games I played in recent memory, like easily. Jumping ahead in my list of, and I've been playing games since like the early 2000s, but these two games really easily jumped ahead in my list. And I haven't really had games that drop in the same year that gave me that feeling, not since 2018, because 2018, that's where we had fucking God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Those two absolute bangers. So Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 fall in that same range for me. But anyways, patch 2.18 addresses issues with the Legends mode on PS4 and PS5, and we know no art is ever necessarily done, but there does come a point where it has to exist on its own merits, untethered from its creators. And this time has come for Ghost of Tsushima, which has now received its final patch. So just to quote what they actually said on Twitter regarding this, they said, "While we aren't actively working on any additional patches at the moment, we will continue to monitor feedback from the community-run Ghost of Tsushima subreddit and messages sent to Sucker Punch Productions on Twitter for any high-priority bugs or issues that emerge." So they aren't necessarily saying that we're going to stop working on it, but basically we've patched it. This is like the best that we can do to it so that the art exists on its own. Then if something else comes up, we'll come back to it, but we're not going to actively be changing anything. So that's good to hear. And then this also comes off the back of news coming out that they're working on a Ghost of Tsushima movie, which should be interesting. Although I'm not really a fan of video game movie adaptations, because I think they tend to bastardize the original art form. So I am one person who tends to be like, keep the art form in its original state. That way, it's preserved in that little lightning in a bottle sort of feeling. Excuse me, apologies, I keep burping. The lightning in a bottle feeling where you just have the game in its state and it's perfect as is, And I always bring up this example where I talk about it's like a bad remix of a good song. Just because a song is good and amazing doesn't mean it needs to have a remix, that kind of thing. That's how I feel about video game movies. But I am excited about Ghost of Tsushima if they do end up going through with this movie. The same way I'm semi-excited about The Last of Us Part 2 being worked on by HBO. Again, I don't expect it to be good because video game movies tend to not be good. But the good thing that they do is that they do offer the product to a new audience. So you will get people, like, for example, that watch the Uncharted movie that had never played an Uncharted game in their life. So they get to experience that. And then maybe they'll go back and pick up Uncharted games and, get to experience that on their own. And then simultaneously, you also have existing fans of the franchises. We get to experience the game in a new form, a new layout, that kind of thing, even though it is not necessarily taking existing context from the game and that kind of thing, and you're not getting to experience it yourself if you were playing it. But it is kind of there, so, it's there for those who want it. Those who aren't too interested in it, we don't have to be too bothered about it. That's that's my feeling on most things in life. But anyways, that's all for today. I know I'd mentioned I wasn't gonna, do too many videos because I didn't want to keep flooding people's timelines. But I just wanted to test out my mic, and hopefully my audio is a bit better today. Because, I was testing out the Corsair headset. Shameless plug, I always keep plugging Corsair, even though they don't sponsor me. I'm far too small to be sponsored by Corsair. But it has been one of the best gaming mics and headsets that I've come across in recent times. Because I did use SteelSeries for a while, and I also used Razer headsets. But right now, I normally just rotate between SteelSeries and the Corsair. And SteelSeries, I like it because it has the better audio, I would say. But the Corsair has the better mic and just, overall balance on what you can do with the headset. So it's a good to juggle between the two. But anyways, I did mention in the last video that I was going to stick to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule for most of my videos. So this one is just coming out the blue. Like I said, I just wanted to test out my mic. But I will try stick to that. So Mondays, we will be getting a discussion commentary style video. every other Monday or once, one Monday every month. I'll try to do it more frequently as well, but then Wednesdays will be the usual Rainbow Six Siege cut up. Fridays will either be FIFA or another game cut up, and then Saturdays, Sundays, when I'm free, I'll do the live streams. And if I'm not free, I'll probably live stream in the evening and then just publish it the following week. That's what I've been doing with Horizon Forbidden West and Ghostwire Tokyo. But as always, thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, or if you have any discussion points, oh god damn it, I'm struggling to speak today, trying to rush through this video. Feel free to leave any comments and just let me know what you want to talk about, what you want me to discuss. And again, I always enjoy feedback from people in the comments. That's why you'll always see me up in the comments, liking, having discussions with people, whether they agree or disagree with me. I don't really care. I'm always open for discussion. So, I'm always the one of thinking, like, you don't want to be one-track minded and, stick to your own little comfort bubble. So just because someone disagrees with you on something doesn't mean that you have to go at each other's throats like we see on the internet. You can always have a civil discussion. But anyway, I hope y'all have a dope week. And happy Independence Day to my fellow Zimbabweans. I say that because I'm recording this on the 18th, like I said. So today is Zimbabwe's Independence Day. But I will publish this on the 19th, so you guys will be hearing it the day after. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.
It worked.